And it was an exercise to help with self-command of thought. Sometimes I wake up and it's like all the thoughts of everything in my zillionth world comes in on me. And it's not like really a good thing or a bad thing, but it's a lot. Like when I used to get up and go to work to an office, it was like nothing to think about. Like it was no sense in thinking about anything except get up, get bathed, get dressed, fix my lunch, warm up the car, drive to work, check in, sit at my desk, work. I mean, I knew what I had to do. Just do it. There was really no room or need or inspiration because you wanted to get through the day so you could get through the week so you could get to the weekend. Um, Hold on 1 second, please. I apologize. I must take this call. Mhm. Appreciate that. I'm back. Um, but this thing of self command, when you don't have to do anything at one particular time, you set your own appointments, you set your schedule for the day based on what you desire to do or think or feel that you need to do. Like, I got to do this, I got to do that, blah, 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 blah. Or the things that you desire to do. So, we have our could do lists and our will do lists. So that's a lot of busyness going on in a brain first thing upon awakening. And our brains can get, if we don't tie them down through self command, it's easy to get hijacked by other people's stuff, good, bad, or indifference. And this exercise that I do, it comes out of PQ repping, positive intelligence reps. And what it is you sit or lay or whatever, what's comfortable for you in a comfortable position. And you bring your attention to your breath. Now, I've done breathing work before, but you can do breathing work with different understandings and different intentions. And the intention of this is to strengthen your self command. Some people breathe for health, to get oxygen in their body more optimized, or whatever, for whatever various reasons. We won't go into that. But this is for strengthening self command. In contrast to all the thoughts that can rush into your head and hijack your thinking or distract your thinking or saturate your thinking so that you don't, by the end of the day, have you focused on what you say you're about, what you say you're going to live, what you say the promises you made to yourself, the movement toward your vision, the be, doing, and having of your your self-identity. So here's the exercise. You sit in a comfortable position and you label your breaths. So it goes something like this. Like 90% of your thinking, of your energy focus is just on your breath. However, whether your stomach is going up or down, or whether it's more in your chest or whatever, you let the breath be what the breath is. And then when your mind goes to worry or a meeting or picking up spills off the floor or stack of papers on your desk, you label it. So it goes something like this. Breath. Car. Breath. Breath. Right. Am I doing it right? If your nose is itching, you might say itching. If you feel a sensation in anywhere in your body, like your back, if you have a discomfort or something, or you feel tightness of your skin or muscle, you might go muscle. And you allow yourself to bring it gently back to breath. Anytime you notice you're noticing anything other than your breath, you label it and bring it gently back. Just come back to breath. Now, when I first did this exercise, I mean, it's the concern, am I doing it right? No, just chill. And if you go off, it's nothing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong, but it's self-commanding to come back to breath. And this exercise is to help support and assist us strengthening our self-command, that what we say we're doing, that's what we're doing. And not during the exercises. So if you say, I'm going to study for an hour, or I'm going to write this contract, or whatever task that you have for yourself, it strengthens the self-command to focus and do that thing. And not that you have to do anything. It's what you allow yourself to come back to as we come back to breath. So I'll put on a 2-minute timer, if I may. And anyone who wants to exercise it, we'll do it for 2 minutes. And perhaps it's something that you can do for yourself at any time to gather your own thoughts and strengthen your own resolve. Two minutes starting now.
Okay.
Okay. That has been 2 minutes. If anyone wants to share their experience.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't realize my mute was off, so there's been background noise. But Sandro, I had to get ready to get into the car to go to an appointment, and it was really, really nice to have that lead as I was doing things, breathing, putting this in my bag, taking this out, putting my boots on. It was really, really nice. I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And even though you were doing other things, that's another expression of sage growth, strengthening that muscle, being present, doing what you're doing, being in the moment. Thank you, Allison.
Welcome. What I was thinking about yesterday also, when you were leading, Chi was doing some of this. I just thought again about how valuable and important it is to have different ways of learning how to manage the mind. Because ultimately, I think until we learn how to be different with our automatics, we'll never get the full potential of our imagination and of our intuition.
I want to explore the word never. We'll never get the full potential of our imagination. And I'm like, I think living is experiencing the potential of our imagination. I don't know that there is, I'll go from never to ever. I don't know if there ever is a full potential of our imagination, because as I get to the new horizon, there's a new horizon. But it's the journey that is the experience of the imagination, that there's always more, and yes, and more. But I do want to experience the imagination of today as it expands.
I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. See, you just expanded my imagination.
Good morning, Will.
Welcome, Will.
Good morning, Will.
He may need to be may need to be
guys.
quiet. Hey,
Good morning, Will.
yeah, I gotta be quiet. Gotcha. Welcome. It reminded me, Cinderella, of the early on learning to quiet the mind. And it's like thoughts came in to my head. My tendency was to grab onto them and chase them, or run with them, or follow them down a rabbit hole. And that was just a constant loop. It's like the mind never really gets tired of that. Because it becomes comfortable for the mind, right? To focus on something. And when I realized that I could detach from that chase, it was like that thought was just come up, and then I'd watch it float down the stream like a leaf, or a passing cloud in the sky. And this exercise was a reminder of that. It's like, one, focus on the breath. Don't, not attaching to the minds, to the triggers in the head, the thoughts. but just to observe it. And that's when we pause that's the observer to say, oh, there's that. And that's the separation. And that separation is it's separating the habit, right? It's pausing the automatic and it's creating a new space, what I call pause. And only in that new space, right, that pause, can something new exist. That explains change. And as I believe that awareness is the beginning key, and like aware of what is, like what is, it's like, oh, what is that thought? We were naming, labeling it, putting a word to it. And when we do that, we don't chase it. So the awareness is putting the word to it, the labeling of it. That's awareness. And then the next move after that, like good practice with that, then is to say, oh, what could it be? Or some version, like you find what works for you. But I like what could, because one, it looks to the future, it opens the possibilities, and both of those are positive potentials that I'm inviting in my present moment.
I like that. It's
I
like the
like a,
awareness is the neutral, huh?
mm, yeah, great. The doorway to it. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good, Chi. Yeah, awareness is the doorway. It's like the path
Mm-hmm.
to neutral.
Or it's a starting point.
Yep. And that's what's great is every moment can be a new starting point.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And what's possible when the mind is quieter. It's like, what's possible with a quiet mind?
With the quiet mind, we can. It's opportunity to connect with our inner self, with our feelings, with our. Sorry, Jesse.
No, gee,
No, I didn't. I wasn't sure whether you.
no. I agree. It's like you said, connect to my inner. Yeah, it's like connecting to our inner being.
Because the mind is connected to something out there, the past and the future.
Yes. That's the tendency.
Yeah, the tendency. Correct. If it's not, if we haven't changed it, it will run everywhere.
That's right. It's exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And like Sindrell said earlier, right? It's like exhausting because it runs as soon as you wake up. You're sucked right into it. It runs all day long, and then we try to shut it off at night. Some of us medicate it, right? Some of us have habits to drown it away, hide it. It's like we rely on other things to distract it.
Mm-hmm.
And all that is like we're just giving our power to something else. Because the awareness, right? The awareness isn't like, oh, I can come in here and choose. So people don't realize their automatics. And so if you, first of all, it's like to see the automatics in silence. Now that's obvious in a group where like conductors can help point it out. But if like the first place to start is people are not comfortable in their own silence.
We are focusing, most of the time on in the society. I want this, I want that, and all day long. Not not realizing what we really need. What we really need is ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to be there for ourselves, nurturing ourselves rather than chasing what is the norm.
And so it's again that inside as a
Yes.
starting point, as opposed to trying to grab on something from the outside.
Wow, I like that. What we really need is ourselves. Beautiful, for us to be in this collective and share these things,
Yes.
and raising that awareness. It's like a big I don't remember the exact time I did it, but I wanted to go out to dinner. But growing up, going out to dinner, you went to dinner with family, you went to dinner on a date, you know, it's a people thing, it's a social thing. But I wanted to go out for dinner. No date or anything. And it really was, I had to emphatically choose me, choose myself to sit there by myself, and the oddity of it, what appeared to be odd to me, and be okay with all the thoughts that I had in me, thinking of what outside perceptions would be. And it was just like, and I wanted to sit through that. And sometimes I can't say it was like totally uncomfortable, but it was a sensation. It was different. And to be okay with me at dinner, and it's something that I've come to learn to enjoy. Not all the time, I like to mix it up, but I'm okay with it, to the point where one time I do remember I was raising my children and we were traveling, and so my then husband, he took the kids ahead of me because I wasn't really ready to go yet. We were just going a few hours away. So I got them all packed up, got them sent, boom, they're gone. And I got myself together, got in the car, started traveling, and I stopped at a restaurant that I've always looked at, but I would never go to because my children were allergic to seafood. I went in there just as bold as I please, and I was tired. Now I'm a mother, I'm exhausted, right? But still got to take this journey. I stopped at this restaurant and I told the maitre d', I said, look, I'm taking a mother moment. I want a really good waiter or waitress who can anticipate my needs without a whole lot of talking and make sure my food comes out superbulous. I don't want to have to send anything back. This is my treat to me. Can you make that happen? And she said, yes. And I sat there, I put my bib on, I got everything I wanted. I enjoyed myself. I was there for like 2.5, maybe 3 hours. And I enjoyed that mother moment. But it's an awareness, no apologies to anything or anybody, meeting any social norms. And it was a good time.
That was beautiful. How to apply being there for yourself.
Yeah.
To practice it. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Mm.
How is everything, Will? Enjoying Hawaii?
Yes. Yeah, that's good. It's got to be quiet. It's more than the. That's all.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for having us with you, even though you're being quiet. I think that's cool. Hawaii.
I'm going to have to leave in the next 5 minutes. So before I go, I just want to share my experience of listening in. And what came to me with the conversation between Jesse and G was that for a long time, change in terms of how does it come about, it was quite a mystery. And I realized that all of a sudden, that's what it feels like. I have this amazing clarity. And it was a really good experience for me because often when I'm working, I have a bit of a freeze moment in terms of that I think, how on earth am I going to help this person through this quagmire that they've got to deal with? And not all of it is their own doing. It is just what there is on the outside. And so to realize that I have so much more clarity was really a gift. And it gave me more confidence in myself in terms of how you can work and work and work on something. And you feel as though you're not sure whether you really are getting any further than what you were. But what this morning's conversation did for me was there was a recognition of how much gets done for us, I believe, when we just do that initial work, which is taking the first step. You know, Jesse's often spoken about taking the action. And I believe that taking that first step is also like, it's a demonstration of your willingness and your capability of being able to honor the gift that we've all been given in terms of being alive. So thank you so much for that. And with that, I better the moose. as my mom used to say, you must get on your bicycle and go.
Have a
Thank
blessed
you,
day.
guys. Have a wonderful day.
Have a wonderful day, Allison. Thank you.
You
Bye,
too, Allison.
Allison.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Mhm. Yeah. So Will, it's a great place, like in where you're at. Um, it's a tremendous opportunity to participate via chat. Oh man, that is a whole different experience to have a conversation in which you can't speak. Yeah. So it's like again, it's like these silent things. It's like, oh, what else can I do in the quiet? Like it's all about the space and the quiet because when we change our default or our automatic, we pause that, then there's space for something, really everything else. That's huge. So there it is like your automatic, and then there's everything else. That's space. Just like that, Will, the gift of space. It is. It's a. Mm, I remember my first experience. So the word, here, not necessarily like we are past this exercise, you know, but it is the first awareness, and what it's the awareness to notice your self-talk. The word is self-talk. This is the inner voice that has words that tells you things, and usually our mind um, will tell us all the reasons why we can't, we won't, we shouldn't. I don't even know anymore. It's like all like it'll give us all the excuses. These are just automatics. And what you'll know, like when you begin to notice it, what you notice is it's never in the direction of what you want. That's right. It's an unconscious agenda autopilot, right? Which is all about awareness. Awareness is, oh, you're right. I am on autopilot. What would that look like for me? So the word I use is self-talk. Now you'll be like, oh, I don't know what self-talk is. But it is that voice that has words, that says words in your head quietly, like inside your body. It's the words that you use internally. Like that's your self-talk. Did you hear it? Did you recognize it? Is it familiar? Yeah. You say, Will, this is like that's what your automatic self-talk sounds like. And in a way, it's a way to gauge where people are with their silence practices, with the relationship with their self-talk. Because me, right away, like in that my first time that I experienced that silence, I jumped in and asked, "Did I lose you? Right? Did I lose connection? Or am I gone? Am I no longer?" And it's like, oh my God, do you see that automatic pattern right there? It's like I don't belong. I wanted to be in it. And I was being left out. So it not only reveals our patterns, like what is it that we really want, but it also like breaks that automatic that I didn't even know existed. What you'll begin to learn is that this is the ego mind. It's the thinking mind, the rational, the logical mind. And so that's the space that you're working with. If you just run with your mind, is a logical, rational, um, right, wrong mind. And there's no space in it. It just is that. So limited, Will. And the awareness, as you say, Will, on Sindrell, the awareness is the power. Being aware of the automatic self-talk, Sindrell. And Sindrell wisdom, the words that speak silently but move you internally, which usually keep us stuck.
Those words, when we're, especially when we're not being aware, for me, what I've experienced is the deposit of all that I've been exposed to and that has been deposited in me. And it's a whole mesh of an operating system. And I wasn't as aware of that operating system. I just thought that's how I was. And that is how I was. All the deposits of all of that information and patterns and culture and structures. That is how I am. But the power to be aware of those things and what they produce. And if it produces output that gets good feedback, it's fine. But when the feedback is a diminishing return of unfulfilled satisfactions, then it's like it's so good to be aware, and that we can exercise self-command to upgrade our operating system. But it's self-command upgrading operating system. No one can really choose for me what I put in there, though, even as an adult, I allow my me to be hijacked for other people's intentional needs or wants. I gave my power away. I didn't understand that that was my power for me to self-command it intentionally, while other people were intentionally doing what they did. And not just people, but, jobs, and, you got bosses on jobs and everything. They're trying to run my operating system, but I gave them that permission because it's like I said, well, this is the job, you accept it. Oh, but now to upgrade, and you just don't throw everything out. It's like, let me examine this awareness. Let me examine silence. Let me examine breath, and let me examine and know and be aware. When am I exercising self-command? When am I exercising choice? And what am I choosing to cultivate that to? And to frame that as a co-creator, whoa, that was like, what? And not just co-creator, but the predominant co-creator. Like, what? I don't just operate in a system. I operate with choice. Co-create.
Yeah, the choice, to operate in choice rather than automatic. Now, our automatics were a choice a long time ago. We at that time were unaware of the choice. We're unaware that it was a choice or forgot that we made the choice. Usually, these are so entangled with our childhood and the development of our language that they just become habits, automatics. And the key is like in our awareness, what we want to be aware of is what we are attaching, how we are attaching. So it's where is our attachments? And we know these attachments by what we call triggers. So they trigger us, they trigger an emotional trigger, a mental trigger, a thought trigger, a thinking. That's all like different things. They're triggers that triggered inside of us. We don't, those triggers are like not us. Like they don't have to be there. We've just like we chose them. Like that was our best response. And when you begin to listen to it, like first thing in the awareness, we want to look at, the separation of in here and out there. In here, out there. So how I saw the world before awareness was whatever's happening out there is what's affecting me in here. So the out there conditions were controlling, I thought, my inners, my inside, my emotions, my thoughts, my feelings. Didn't know there was another way until I begin to see the attachments. And aren't you attached to being charged? Before there's awareness? The attachment is like, oh, something out there, my wife does something. I'm going to respond how I've responded all the time to that. So it depends on how she comes at me. Attack or love. Ugh, it's so hard. I mean, not hard, but it's those automatics. Overcoming them, going through them, seeing them, pausing the reaction. So really, it's like the attachments create the reactions, and those reactions are without choice in the moment. They just are automatics.
remember when we the children, parents would ask, "Hey, why'd you do that?" As
Mm.
kids, we say because. Always like say because. It's really two words, like
Mhm.
because. Just something that was kind of present in my
Mhm.
awareness.
It's a good one.
We forget that as adults. We get to be cause.
Oh, it's when we spoke yet, being the cause.
Yeah.
So being the cause and then taking it, then doing it, like taking the action,
Mm-hmm.
creates the effect. And that's what we have is the effect in all reality. Like that becomes what we'll call karma. And karma is like a bank. It's like we're depositing it and we're taking it out, depositing it and taking it out. And at the end, like at every moment, you have a balance, positive or negative. And that is how our because, our being and doing creates the effect, the out there. Yeah. The structure is be, do, have. The be in here, if you look at it, that's great, Will. And what you'll look at here is like, think about the being. If we look at the being, it's like human being. Being is in here, inside of us. Being is inside. And we are separated, literally separated because we are inside out there. Sorry, inside. Confusing. But if you think of like a fish is in water, right? They're inside the water. It's just like, does the fish know they're in water? It's like, how often do you think that you are in air? You don't think about it until there isn't any. Yes, being is inside. Doing is what we see out there, and then having is the effect, like the outcome. And we can see actions and then we can see the outcomes. What we don't see is the role that our being plays in those two. Really, just plays in the one. And, because the being shapes the doing so much. Yeah, we ignore. So here's the potential is to look at the being and how the being plays into the outcome. That is having the outcome. Right? All of that is like a constant accounting of karma. Now, you may have I had a different view of what karma was, but like it's not as clear as that.
Wow. This is so great. Yeah. Yeah, but what came to my mind is that we we are constantly manifesting, whether we knowing or not, or aware of it or not. Because when we choose the words that we're choosing and the thoughts, the intention, and it's everything is created out of that.
Everything is created out of that. That's it. Just everything is created out of that. That's all it is.
Mm.
Yeah. Just everything is created out that way. Everything in your life is just created that way. Everything.
Mm.
That's the potential. Everything.
And then we can do it with awareness, and then and get the result that we want.
Better shot at it, yeah. At least trying something different that might have a shot at working, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? You stay the same, keep doing the same thing, yeah. It's like,
And what came to my mind, I don't know whether it's related to this, but the word jingle bell, we think of Christmas, but it really is, it was in the plantation, and they put the bells around the slave's neck so that they can't run away at night, so that the dog can chase them, can hear them. So we use the word without thinking of what we're really saying. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit off. That's what came to my mind.
no, you're never, you can't be off. Yeah. Now, did it come to your mind or did it come to your heart?
Mm. I'm definitely more aware of the words that I choose.
Yes, you are. It's like, today our first hour was in silence together. There's no way 3 years ago, 4 years ago, even 3 years ago, actually 2 years ago, no way could I have sat in silence that long. Not even by
That's the
myself.
beauty of it. The more we practice, we get better at it. Yeah,
That's right.
getting better and better.
There's there's something about doing it together It's completely different. It's not completely, it's so much more expansive. But we never give ourselves the opportunity, or some people don't ever give themselves the opportunity. I never gave myself the opportunity because my thinking mind said, well, we have to be productive. So we have to be doing.
I think for me, it's also a vulnerability to do it with other people.
Yes, yes.
Because I don't know what's gonna trigger or what's gonna come out, but for the purpose of doing it with other people, to be purposeful, to be an experience, I I have to come, I have to allow those triggers to trigger me and see them for what they are and see me for what I am in the trigger. And it's, it can be painful, it can be embarrassing, it can be ugly, especially when we're used to such a judgmental world, but that is not exercised here. It's learning to trust the environment, but first trusting yourself. And how can you trust yourself when you don't really like know how you're going to come out? Like, how am I going to come at you when you catch me on something? And how am I going to breathe that in and get the salve, to get the benefit of it, whether it stings or hurts or makes me cry or make me laugh or make me laugh at you for catching me? What, you don't know yourself sometimes, and to be vulnerable, and nobody's wrong. And what's right is right for you or for me where I am, even if I am in the water. Here, I want somebody to see what I can't see. Ooh, I didn't think of that. Ooh, that triggered me. Out there, when I was growing up in school, I could raise my hand. I was right. Like I was right. Like I was right. I was right. I was right. But when I got out of that cocoon, all my rightness was not giving me results. So where's the wounding and the bruising occurring? It's like, they don't think like I think. They don't, you know, life is different outside of the cocoon. Now, how do I be? And how do I ask? How do I open myself up and ask for help and expose myself to help and expose myself to learning something I can't be right or wrong about? I don't know about it. And it's actually like living in the space of, ooh, I've never been here before. Is it possible? I don't know. Explore. When you explore, it's like you got to go somewhere to explore. You got to go somewhere inside, maybe somewhere you've never been before. What? Intuition? I have that. Some people say, like, and I've said it myself, sometimes there are situations when all you can do is rely on God. That's all you got. And then you find out it's the God in you. Ooh, that's a big awareness. So let me know this genius in me. Jesse, there was a time when that would always like trigger me, like in such a positive way. You were naming genius, genius, we're genius, you're genius. I needed to hear that. And guess what? I'm not the only one in the class that has to have the answers, or that has the answers, or that gets the answers. You're a genius, and you're a genius, and you're a genius. Ooh, one star shines differ from another, and yet all stars or geniuses. They say Einstein was a genius. I mean, he just he explored the perimeters and the outer skirts of everything that was to just go further, go beyond what he didn't know. Go beyond, I said, go beyond what he didn't know. It is going beyond the knowingness. And trusting.
Yeah, it's exploring the silence in here. Silence, like, oh, what it would be possible in the silence. And so, yeah, mindfulness and meditation are two different things, related, but separate. And I listen to a lot of people, right, talk about their meditation practices, that they're not happy with them, right? They're not, you know, am I doing it right? Right? It doesn't, like, it helps, but then it doesn't. And it's like frustration with meditation or silent or quiet. Yeah. Because we all think we know what it is. And it's always changing if we allow it. My biggest breakthrough was coming together with you, this group, and in the moment, like through our conversations, not like they are now, but how they used to be when we first started over 2 years ago, how I was reacting to the conversations. And it was only a place for me to see in myself what was being triggered. That was a meditative mindfulness with you, so that my meditation practice spilled over into living. Also, like in reshaping my being. And it's like, that is what I think people miss the opportunity for, is to take the meditation out of their quiet space alone and bring it into a social setting. Well, it's like, maybe it's not called meditation anymore, just because of how we've defined our meditation. Like, to me, meditation was sitting down at some point and taking as much quiet time as I could.
Can I add something quick?
Please.
I was thinking the same. You know, this is not, this is meditation on a whole another level. You know, it's a fire citation. So it's a combination of fireside and meditation. Yeah, maybe it sounds crazy, but it just popped to my head. Yeah. But yeah, I had the same experience. Yeah, and yeah, I couldn't have said it better.
This is meditation for me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's on, like, I could say third dimension or fifth dimension or 10th dimension. It has levels that really, you really don't have to number them, because they escalate up and down. And I bring so much of these conversations into my living, and beyond the conversation, in my actions, in my judgments, functioning judgments throughout the day, to be aware throughout the day, not to just meditate for 10 or 20 minutes, but if it's to live connected to my meditative state, so that I can be a better, a more expansive, evolved person from the inside out. Now, this is something else here.
Your mind, the logical, reasonable, rational mind is trying to tell you that it knows. I know, I know, I know. Right? That is in my schooling, like that is how I was rewarded. Like that's how what was safe for me was to know. But what I realize now is that if I surrender to knowing, which is I don't know, it takes me a moment. Like it was a big practice at first was to surrender knowing and fall into the, well, I don't know. It's okay to not know, because what that does is that opens all the space.
Exactly. And then I had to get over, oh, they might find out that I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's like if it's kind of like what's taking shape here is um, exploring space, exploring inner space. Ooh, I like it. Exploring inner space. That's exploring silence. Silence is a space. I don't know is a space. And yes, and is a space. And if you orient towards those as expansive space, you can begin to unlock the magic of life.
Yeah, the beauty of it is it can only get better. And look how far, yeah, just in 2 years. Imagine, in 5 years, 10 years. Wow.
I just have to say, I admire, not that it's needed by anything or anyone, but it's my appreciation of the consistency for 2 years. What a gift to give consistency. What a phenomenal gift. To be able to give it is a gift.
What a great morning. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you,
Oh,
Centrell,
good.
Will, Heinz, Chi, Allison, and all of the others.
All have a pleasant day. Love and
Great
hug.
day,
Love
everyone.
you all.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Set
Bye.
me on
Much
my
love.
day. Much love.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.